What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back. Believe it or not, folks, we are coming up on the 4-year anniversary of the Pokemon Card Auctions of the Week recap. I cannot believe it's already been 4 years since I put out the first episode, so I thought it would be fun to go all the way back to early 2020 and kind of react as a community, you and I, react to the very first auction recap, see exactly what was selling, what was it selling for, what do these things sell for nowadays, see just how bad my videos were back then when I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought it would be a fun video, so let's jump into it. What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back. Oh man, okay. We are, 3 seconds into it, and I'm already cringing at how awful this lighting is, how awful the sound is, how terrible the title placement is when I edited these videos. Sorry. I feel like I've come a long way in terms of presentation and lighting and sound, so yeah, sorry about that. Let's proceed. So let's get to the very first auction. It looks like it was a PSA 9. Error Dark Persian with the no 60 HP error. So back then, early 2020, it was selling in auction for about $430, which is interesting because today this card actually sells for more. As the most recent PSA 9, I think, was listed for $900 some, ended up having a best offer accepted price of like $750. So this was an auction, or this particular card I guess would have been a good investment back then, according to this auction data. And I also gotta say that back then I only did 10 auctions because, top 10 Pokemon. But back then I was able to pick out the top 10 most pertinent auctions, and it wasn't long after that where I had to adjust to several auctions because the market just exploded with so many amazing sales that I had to include more than 10. So this was just 10 of the most pertinent auctions that I could find at the time. So here we had the Neo Revelation set. All of the holos in first edition were graded PSA 8, and it also had the rest of the set. All of the non-holo cards were included raw, and it sold for a total of $1,226. And I would have to guess that today this would sell for a whole lot more. That was a heck of a deal back then, getting the entire set in near mint to mint condition, even graded, for a little over $1,000. So that was a steal back then for sure. Moving on, we have a Typhlosion 17 and PSA 5. This is just when the start of the Typhlosion 17 popularity was skyrocketing, so a PSA 5 back then sold for $380. Whereas I believe today the most recent PSA 5 sold for like $115. So this particular auction price did not age well, as it goes for about a third the price it did almost 4 years ago. And the next auction, we had a complete base set unlimited graded set. So all of these cards from base set unlimited were all graded PSA 9, sold for $2,550. And that, folks, was a steal if you ask me, because the Charizard itself, even nowadays, sells for like $1,000. So you get all the other holos, plus all of the rares, commons, and uncommons already graded for only $2,500. Can't beat that, especially in today's market. And up next, we had the big three in PSA 10, the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, sold for an even $5,000. Another absolute steal compared to today's market, where the Charizard itself sells for like $9,000, sometimes $10,000, depending on, the cert, condition. The Blastoise nowadays sells between $2,000 and $3,000. The Venusaur sells for over $1,000. So, yeah, whoever managed to nab this lot back then got a really good deal for only paying $5,000 for these three cards. And then looks like we're on to a little bit of sealed product. We had a unlimited base set booster box sell for $7,500, which today this box has been like $14,000 to $15,000. So I guess from 2020 to now, this box has doubled in value. Although, of course, during the boom, this box sold for a whole lot more than $15,000. But another good investment if you bought it back then. Here we have a first edition fossil box that also included, I believe, a raw first edition Raichu and Lapras. Yeah, right there. A raw first edition Raichu and Lapras. And then it also included a couple of booster packs, I believe, like 3 sealed booster packs. So the fossil box, 3 sealed booster packs, plus those 2 holos for $7,050. Another great deal. And then this is one of the most interesting auctions I have ever seen. It is like 1 pack of each set that ever came out at the time, starting from base sets, went all the way up to like evolutions or something. So you got like 90 booster packs sealed, including like Skyridge and Aquapolis, and those heavy duty packs, legendary collection, sold for $5,749. So yeah, I would have picked that up in a heartbeat for sure. I would do that today if it sold for a price like that. All right, what do we got next? I picked out a Typhlosion 18 holo from Neo Genesis in PSA 10. Back then was selling for $1,525. Now I'm kind of rusty on my Typhlosion 18 prices today. I believe they are definitely under $1,000. I'll have to look that up and put on the screen here, but definitely not $1,525. So this particular auction did not age well in terms of value. And then the very last card I had on here wasn't even an auction, I don't think. It was the first edition Blissey Holo from Neo Rev. That I think at the time I was under the impression that it sold for $9,000, which it very well could have. It was an extremely low pop card back then, and even today it was a pop 9 back then. So could I see someone paying $9,000 for this card? Yeah, I could, but wasn't an auction. But forgive me, folks, I was just starting out, and the selections for the auction recap were a lot more scarce than they are today, let me tell you. Well, folks, according to my playlist here, we are at 183 auction recap videos. It's definitely the longest running series I will probably ever have. And I'm so glad you all love it and tune in each week. I really appreciate it. And it's always fun to go back to the beginning and see where you started from. And I hope I've done better throughout the past 4 years than I did back then. Let me know what you think of the video, folks. Don't forget to be a subscriber. Don't forget to give the video a like. I would appreciate that as well. That's all I got for you today. I'll catch you all in my next one.